Hi everyone, welcome back. In this tutorial, we're going to do a brief demonstration, show you how all these different MIDI parameters and specifications can be used to actually create music by sending this data to our synthesizer. We have a copy of Expand that's open. This is a virtual synthesizer that comes with Pro Tools. It's what you call a multi-timbral synth because it can play more than one sound at a time. What I want to have happen in this little demonstration is I want to show you that we can, using various MIDI tracks and these virtual instruments, create a piece of music and send individual discrete data, MIDI data from each track to each part or instrument contained in my synthesizer here. To accomplish that, I'm going to set each instrument on its own MIDI channel. Remember, we said there were 16 MIDI channels available for each cable. So I'm going to set the first instrument here to channel 1 because I want it to be on its own channel, or using the analogy that we did in our discussion, its own telephone number. Same with channel 2 on this instrument, channel 3, and channel 4. Now, each instrument is set up to play only the data received on its specific MIDI channel. So the first thing I have set up is a piano sound. So what I'm going to do, give myself a couple bars of click, and then I'm going to play a phrase or piece of music. And I will be using the sustain pedal. Okay, now let's stop our recording. Okay, let's look at what we did. Here's our MIDI data. You can see I'm not quite on the grid. There's a wrong note right there. Okay, so for the purposes of our demonstration, what I want to do is show you how to quantize this. So I'm going to select all these notes, and I'm going to quantize or make them all adhere to a specific grid value. So I'm going to apply my quantization. I'm going to do 100%, no randomizing. You can see everything moved a little bit. So now everything is right on the money. Okay, there's my wrong note. Wrong note. So I will select that and delete it. Backspace. Okay, good. Now I could go in here and I could change some of these velocities. Remember, velocity values from 0 to 127. Okay, good. So there's my first part of my song. Now let's add another track. And this one's going to be a bass part. So we'll record enable that track. I'm going to assign my MIDI channel. So now this MIDI data is being sent to my virtual instrument channel 2. I'll go to my virtual instrument channel 2 and I will select a bass sound. Okay, now we've got our bass set up. Let's go ahead and record our bass part. Okay, a couple of errors right here at the end. Let's go ahead and quantize this. So I'm going to tighten this up so it's right to the grid. And then let's listen to it. That's supposed to be that. And then this is a different note right here. Okay, there we go. Okay, good. Now we've got our bass part, and I've gone in and edited some of the data. And you can see our velocities, what we played here. We could go in and change any of those. Okay, let's move on from there and add some other parts. I'll add a new MIDI track. This will be loops, and we'll assign that to channel 3. Let's try that. Maybe something like that'll work. Okay, that worked okay. It's a little bit halftime compared to what I played, but that'll work. And we'll make sure this is nice and on the grid as well. And it is. Okay, for the final part of our tutorial, let's go ahead and add a little bit of MIDI CC, or continuous controller data, to our song. So I decided a couple of things I wanted to do. I wanted to add some panning left and right on our piano sound. So you can see as I turn this knob right here, it's also turning this pan. That's because they've been assigned both the same continuous controller. So when I'm sending signals here, this is set to receive that controller data. So let's record that data onto our track as well. So now we have that data recorded, and it's moving that pan knob. I'm not doing anything. It's moving by itself now because we programmed that MIDI control data. Let's look at it. We go over here. Okay, so here's our pan data. So 0 to 127, about 64 is in the middle, and as I was moving the knob back and forth like this, it was sending those control changes, 0 to 127, via continuous controller. Let's add one more thing. Let's add a little bit of reverb to my drum loop. I'm going to add something like that. So I'm going to add a large size, bigger shape. Yeah, something like that. So now I'm going to add that to my performance as well. Yeah, just a little too much. I didn't want it to occur till right at beat 4 or beat 3. So what we'll do is maybe I'll just make some corrections to this. So I'll draw this in myself. Like that. So I'm just altering the MIDI CC data. Okay. Okay, still too much. I think what I'll do is I'll just grab all this and pull it down a little bit. It's a little too much. Still too much, but you get the idea. You can adjust this MIDI CC or continuous controller data till we get what we want. There we go, that's a little better. So that is the end of this little demo, and it shows you everything you can do with MIDI continuous controllers and MIDI data.